In The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson argues that everything you do moves you forward one direction or another. It makes you better or worse. When you choose to spend your time exercising, you become healthier. When you choose to spend that same time on the couch, you become less healthy. You are always becoming a better or worse version of yourself. There is no standing still. Every decision you make pushes you one direction or another. The crucial corollary here is that every decision you don't make also pushes you one direction or the other. As humans, we have the proclivity towards doing things on autopilot, towards letting inertia just take us wherever it wants us to go. The problem with this is that it becomes very easy to live your whole life on autopilot. And then whether you succeed or don't succeed, whether you do the things that you want to do or don't do the things that you want to do, whether you become healthy or don't become healthy, all of those things are dependent entirely on autopilot. If we want to live as wholly and completely as possible, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, then we need to make sure that the decisions that we're making are leading us towards those goals. That means that all of our decisions should be made deliberately and consciously. It's very easy to be lazy about this, but laziness leads us towards doing things out of habit instead of out of conscious choice. Think about all the things that you do every day, not because you've chosen to do them, but because you haven't thought about them at all. For most people, these little non-decisions define who they are. It's these habits that define our identity. What does your diet look like? What do you eat in the morning? Was that a conscious decision, or is it just what you've grown up with? What does your daily schedule look like? Was that a conscious decision? Have you maximized for time doing the things that are important to you? How about money? Are you making intentional decisions with your money? Are you doing things that you intend to do? Are you spending money the way you want to be spending it? Or do you just buy whatever the advertisements tell you to buy? Do you just let whatever happens happen? This afternoon I was looking out at the front yard, and there are two flags that have been there since we bought the house several months ago. It just occurred to me that this wasn't a decision that we've made. The flags were there out of inertia, not out of intent. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be there, but the decision to have those flags should be an intentional one. They shouldn't be there just because they were there when we bought the house. And this is a minor thing that probably doesn't make much difference, but it does illustrate how easy it is to not make decisions. And it's very important that we make these decisions. Inertia is just fine as long as the direction is aimed consciously. If you decide that what you want for breakfast in the morning is eggs and bacon and you want that every morning, that's fine. Set that on autopilot. Then, whether that's leading you towards a healthy or unhealthy lifestyle, at least it's leading you there intentionally. You're going someplace that you intended to go. And we can't live without putting things on autopilot. There are simply too many things happening all the time for our conscious minds to attend to all of them. So you create a habit, you create a framework for making those decisions. But it's important to create that framework intentionally. That framework should reflect your intent and values. If we don't intentionally make that framework, that doesn't mean that the framework isn't there. It means that the framework has been created subconsciously. And when that happens, it's made out of whatever's handy. Some mixture of your values and those of your friends and family and relatives and society in general. Society is telling us things all the time. Television, movies, news, sports, jobs, people on the street. All these things exert pressure and influence on the decisions that we make. They all influence how we interact with the world. And many of their messages are fine. Many of their messages are even healthy. But many of their messages are not the story that we would choose to reinforce. And if you don't examine your habits and your subconscious decisions, then that's exactly what you are doing. By not making that decision, you're making the decision that was already made for you. You're reinforcing the message that just got placed there. So take the time to examine the stories that you're telling. Make your life your story, not a mirror of the society around you. Make conscious decisions, live an intentional life, and keep smiling.